Trojan Sports Now.
Hello and welcome back to Trojan Sports Now as we begin the spring semester. I'm Danielle Percival.
And I'm Jonathan Sellers. Stick around as we bring you the latest news and scores from Troy Sports.
Troy University's athletic department has plans to institute a drug testing policy for all student athletes. The announcement was made by Director of Athletics John Hartwell last week, and the policy will be put into effect immediately. Student athletes at Troy University were informed Wednesday night that within the next 30 days, every student athlete will be drug tested. Director of Athletics John Hartwell says this program was implemented following incidents that occurred during the semester break.
The holiday break this year was one of tragedy and loss, not only for Troy University as a whole, but certainly in athletics. And from athletics perspective, what we want to do, these incidents have caused us internally to do some more soul searching and say, hey, what can we do to try to prevent this in the future?
The procedure will begin with a baseline test of all student athletes in all sports at Troy. Then each month there will be a random selection of student athletes tested.
Our reasoning for doing this is not to, quote, catch people, certainly, but to make it a deterrent, to make it an education process. You know, certainly we have a drug policy in place that's not a first offense and you're out on your ear. It's a first offense. We want to get you help. We want to get you counseling. Certainly if it's a repetitive problem that doesn't correct itself over a period of time, then yes, it's going to result in suspensions from play and then possibly, loss of scholarship and suspension from the university.
Hartwell said if there are individuals who are unable to meet the standards necessary to remain in collegiate competition, cuts can and will be made regardless of the student athlete in consideration.
Whether it's somebody who's a star and a starter and somebody who, yes, if they're removed from a team could potentially be the difference in a win and a loss, versus the last person, on the bench on a team. We've got to be objective in how we treat this. And yes, at the end of the day, it may cost us a win or two or three or five in a particular sport. But if we can send that message, that is relatively obscure compared to the loss of life that we've suffered and the ruining of lives that have been suffered over this break. And certainly I think it's a message that we've got to get out there and stand for.
Hartwell added athletics would like to set a tone university-wide to deter drug use and thinks this is a positive step in that direction.
Well, over the winter break, 4 Troy University students lost their lives, and on the sports side, the athletics family in particular, the football team is dealing with the loss of one of its own. Jadarius Garner was a defensive end for the Trojans and had just completed his second season with the team, appearing in all 12 games. Garner was honored during the 2013 season as the Sun Belt Defensive Player of the Week after recording 3 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, which both led to forced fumbles against Savannah State. Head coach Larry Blakeney issued a statement following the announcement of Garner's passing.
Something that is hard to put into words and you don't really know what to say. Really not much you can say except make sure that you are thinking about the people that are dealing with this grief, his family, and certainly his teammates and all of his friends.
Garner passed away near his hometown of Clarksdale, Mississippi on January 2nd. Our hearts go out to his family and his teammates during this time. Garner was 20 years old.
The Trojan men's basketball team was on the road over the weekend in Arkansas, and coming off their first victory on the road all season, the Trojans doubled up Saturday night. Troy was able to win its second conference game against the other Trojans of the Sun Belt. UALR 75-62 in Little Rock. 4 Troy players made it to double digits, with Jeff Malahy leading the way, tallying 17 points, 9 rebounds, and 4 assists. Tevin Calhoun contributed 17 of his own, and in his past 2 outings, Calhoun had banked a total of 52 points. Calhoun was then named the Sun Belt Conference's Player of the Week on Monday. He had 35 points against Arkansas State, then 17 2 nights later. Calhoun's 35 points were the most by a Trojan since Brandon Hazard scored 35 against Western Kentucky in 2009. The team was back in action on Thursday night and looking to carry momentum forward, but the Trojans lost 75-64 to ULM at home. The teams were battling it out with the game tied at the half, but the Warhawks were able to take control early on in the second half and never let the Trojans back in the game. ULM shot 64% from behind the arc and 52% from the field. The Trojans were able to out-rebound the Warhawks, but the hot-hitting ULM crew was too much for Troy. Jeff Malahy and Hunter Williams led the team in scoring with 16 each. Head coach Phil Cunningham with his thoughts on the game.
I thought we played hard. I thought the effort was there. The first stat I always look at is rebounding. We out-rebounded them. We had 12 offensive rebounds. When you go offensive rebound, you're playing hard. I didn't think we made plays tonight like we had been, and give them credit. They played well. They played well on both sides of the ball. They had a plan for us defensively that we hadn't seen a whole lot. And we've got to make some adjustments to that.
And while the men found success in Arkansas, the women continued to struggle in the early part of the Sun Belt schedule. Arkansas Little Rock was able to defend their home court, winning 69-52. Troy was cold from the field, shooting just 31% in the game, the team's second lowest percentage of the season. Joanna Harden scored half of Troy's points, totaling 26, and at one point had 12 straight for Troy. The Trojans have yet to win a conference game and have now lost their last 7 in a row. But the Trojans had a chance to stop their skid Thursday night as they were back in Trojan Arena facing Louisiana Monroe. Amy Austin has the details.
Coming out strong at the start of the game has been a struggle for the Troy women's basketball team, and last night it proved fatal. Louisiana Monroe quickly took back the lead from the Trojans within the first 20 seconds of play and kept the lead until they defeated the Trojans 83-72.
Getting a little too familiar coming in here after a game and, talking about a loss. And we were definitely putting everything we have, I believe, into turning around for a win. Once again, it didn't happen tonight. I thought the biggest overall standout problem in the first half was rebounding.
Rebounds were Troy's main struggle through the entire game. ULM out-rebounded Troy 55-38. Head coach Chanda Rigby realizes this problem, but knows her players are capable of performing well when they have the confidence.
Definitely trying to get rebounds, and honestly, I think I have some guards struggling with some confidence issues right now. They're pushing the ball off to Joe a lot sooner than they used to, like getting rid of it and getting it to Joe, and that's something we're about to have some meetings about right now. And we've got guards that are good that can handle the ball, but when you've gone through this many losses, it's probably going to take a lot of pep talks and a lot of psychology or something to get them to realize it.
With all the tough losses, the Trojan women are in a slump, and in order for her girls to get back in the game, Rigby knows she has to share positive encouragement to lift their spirits.
I have no choice but to be a dealer of hope right now. We're not going to turn it around if the leader's down. You're not going to do it. And so I'll go in the locker room after this, and you wonder, can they get up one more time and get it? Sure they can. I've got to do it. I've got to be the spark that ignites it, and we've got to come after Lafayette with everything we got on Saturday.
Amy Alston, Trojan Sports Now.
The women's track and field team completed their first competition of the indoor season on Saturday at the UAB Blazer Invitational. For some athletes, this meet served as a chance to get a taste of what collegiate competition is all about, and Dallas Worthy made the most of it. Worthy moved into the top 10 in program history in the 400 meters with a time of 59.40 in her first competition with the Trojans. Other first-timers for Troy included Karina Cox, who placed 35th in shot put, while Keaton Wallace took 14th in the 5,000-meter run. Sophomore Julia Ostendorf ran a personal best time of 5:22 in the mile, good for 19th.
Former Troy baseball player Danny Collins has another award to add to his trophy case. Collins was named the Alabama Baseball Coaches Association 2013 Player of the Year earlier this week. Collins will be honored at the 19th annual ABCA banquet on January 17th in Birmingham. During his collegiate career at Troy, Collins played both third base and right field and posted a .339 batting average, scoring 103 runs and driving in 120. He led the Sun Belt Conference in doubles and total bases and ranked second to teammate Trey Santos in RBIs last season. Collins was a 13th round draft pick by the Pittsburgh Pirates and was also named to the Louisville Slugger All-America First Team, and was a semifinalist for both the Golden Spikes Award and the Dick Hauser Trophy.
Still to come on Trojan Sports Now, Trojan fans have the chance to see both basketball teams in action again this weekend at Trojan Arena.
But first, I had the chance to sit down with a senior on this year's basketball team to find out about his thoughts on the season. Stick around for more Trojan Sports Now.